Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to continue with our little cutting compound contest where we put cutting compounds that claim to be able to remove 1,000 grit sanding marks or better head to head and see how they work, see how it turns out. Today we're going to take a look at 3D HD Cut Plus. Now that takes advantage of their Nano Abrasive technology and actually sets up for the HD Polish Plus in a two-step process. We have actually taken a look at enough compounds to set up a metals table, and this is what we're looking at so far. We have Artex holding on the gold, CarPro Clear Cut silver, Megs 105 surprisingly holding on the bronze, and we have Atoms in the runners-up section. Let's see if that changes and take a look at the 3D HD Cut Plus. HD Cut is $20.99 for 16 ounces. It contains state-of-the-art nano abrasive technology. It has high lubrication, low dusting, and is easy to wipe off the panel. The compound can remove 1,200 grit sanding marks and claims to be able to finish down further than most compounds. I put a little bit of the product on a panel and spread it out with my fingers. I failed to feel the abrasives, which doesn't mean anything because there have been some compounds that I could feel, a real grit in the solution itself, but it doesn't cut. I've felt some that I can't feel the abrasives whatsoever, and it cuts great, but there is a ton of lubrication in here. Having tested a ton of these so far, if I feel a grit in the compound, it's going to come along with some dusting, some light to moderate dusting. The two are synonymous, and it's just the way it is. I don't feel any abrasive in this, so we'll see what happens. We're going to start with 2,500 grit in this section. We're going to go all the way down to 800 grit on the other side. I'll remove the tape. We'll take a run with the 3-inch polisher from one end to the other and back and see how this 3D Cut Plus works. 2,000 grit for this section here. 1,500 grit for this section here. We haven't had a compound yet that has struggled going through this section, but I'm sure there will be one or two. This section here with the 1,000 grit sanding marks, most of the compounds we tested will remove that kind of damage with an extra 2 or 3 passes. It's the next section with the 800 grit that most of the compounds are not designed to remove that. However, it is fun to see how close some of these get in removing that kind of damage. Okay, we have each section set up. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, remove the tape so our polisher can make a run down and back. We have the tape removed. It's cleaned up. We're going to set the camera. I'm going to get some of the 3D HD Cut Plus on the same pad we've been using throughout all of the testing, which is attached to the same polisher, the Flex XFE 712-80 that we've been using. We're going to run a path from the 2,500 grit all the way down through the 800 and back, same arm speed, same polisher speed, same arm movement, and same pressure as the tests we have gone through before. And we'll see how this performs. I'm really kind of anxious to see how this cuts, how far it can finish, and hopefully it doesn't dust. We're using a cookie cutter orange cutting pad. As you can see, I don't have a ton of pressure on the polisher. I'm just guiding it with my hand. The object here is to put all of the work, the load of the work, on the compound itself to see how it performs. Right, that's going to do it. Just give me a minute to put down the polisher, grab the camera. By the way, don't lift the polisher off the panel until it's turned off and done oscillating completely. It's just easier on your polisher and the pads that way. Just a quick tip. As we come in, I can show you it has a ton of lubrication yet. We could do another pass or two. The abrasives may be breaking down a bit, but we'd still be able to work this panel. Dusting is minimal. Not a lot, only up here at the end here do we see where it's starting to gather. All right, next little test here. How easy is it to remove residue or the spent compound? It's very easy. It comes off with no effort whatsoever. Now time to take a look at the HD Cut Plus's performance. Had no problem with the 2500 or the 2000 grit marks. 1500 grit, no sweat whatsoever. Keep in mind the panels we're going to be working with are not perfect, they're beat up, so we just want to kind of concentrate on the sanding marks. When it comes to the 1000 grit, it did an excellent job. In the middle there, it's almost removed completely with just those two passes there, and even in the 800 grit section, it's very impressive. It did a lot of work there. Okay, next I want to use the light and show you it hasn't left a haze behind like some of these hard hitters do, these heavy cutters. It finishes pretty far just like it claims to. And just like the other videos, I'm going to take the last two sections, the 800 and the 1000 grit sections, and I'm going to work on those. And I'm going to work on those for a nice extended period of time and see what the open time or the working time is for these before it starts to flash and dry out. And I also want to test for dusting and see if the temperature is raised extremely high on the little section I'm working on. And we'll see how it cuts as well, removing those marks. Good enough. We took our time, did a crisscross pattern on this little section. Give me a second to grab the camera. We'll come in and see if we have any kind of lubrication left over. Has it flashed? And no, there's still plenty of lubrication there. We could still work it if we wanted to. Dusting, minimal. Just a couple spots here and there. That's excellent. Thumbs up. Alright, let me remove the residue, which comes off quick and easy, no effort, and we'll see how this thing cut, doing a little bit longer extended working time. Okay, first we'll check on the hazing. Not much at all, none whatsoever really. So we'll go back over here to the 1000 grit section, and it's done a great job. There's some areas where it's just about removed all of it. Still some left right here near the tape, but I didn't concentrate there too much. Over at the 800 grit, I'll tell you what, this stuff is really good, really impressive. It cuts as good as the Ardex, and it dusts less, and it also doesn't leave the haze that Ardex does. So we have ourselves a new gold medal holder. Okay, that was the 3D HD Cut Plus. I've never used that before. I was pleasantly surprised and impressed. I look at absolutely everything with these compounds before ranking them. I do have to tell you, all of these compounds are grouped very close together, and you can't go wrong with just about any of them. I'll let you know if there are some that are just bad and a waste of your time, a waste of your money, but you won't go wrong with any of these, especially any of these on the metals table or any of those that are runners up. I'm telling you, they're close together, and only slight differences will separate them. So, the metals table has changed. HD Cut Plus has edged out Ardex, which is holding silver over Carb Pro Clear Cut. And then we have our two consolation prizes going to Mags 105 and Adams so far. This will change drastically. I'm at the point where I just about have all of them tested, and it has been a fun experience testing all of these compounds. They're all great. They all have pros and cons, and I'll bring those to light as we test them. So that's it for this week. This is Brian from Apex Detail. If you have any questions, let me know. Catch you in the next video.